I'm about to tell you something that most English teachers will never admit. You don't need years to speak fluent English. You don't need expensive courses, and you definitely don't need to memorize grammar rules. I taught ESL for 8 years, and I watched students waste months doing the wrong things while others became fluent in just 90 days. The difference? 3 specific techniques that nobody talks about. So here's the deal. Most people think becoming fluent in English is this massive mountain to climb. They think it takes years of practice, hundreds of hours in classrooms, and perfect grammar knowledge. But that's actually not how it works. When I was teaching at language schools, I noticed something crazy. Some students would study for 2 years and still struggle to have a basic conversation. But then I had other students who would come in and within 3 months they were speaking confidently, making jokes, having real conversations. And the wild part is the second group wasn't smarter. They weren't more talented, they just did 3 things completely differently. And today I'm going to break down exactly what those 3 things are and how you can use them starting today. Let me tell you about Maria. She was one of my students back in 2019. She came to me after studying English for 4 years. 4 years. She had taken classes, used apps, watched videos, done everything right according to traditional methods. But when I asked her a simple question like, "What did you do last weekend?" she would freeze up. She knew the words in her head, but they just wouldn't come out. She would start translating from her native language, get stuck on grammar, and then just give up in frustration. And here's the thing, Maria is not alone. This happens to millions of English learners every single day. They study vocabulary lists. They memorize grammar rules. They do exercises in textbooks. But when it's time to actually speak, nothing comes out naturally. It's like their brain goes blank. Why does this happen? Because the way most people learn English is completely backwards. Think about it. When you were a baby learning your first language, did your parents hand you a grammar book? Did they make you memorize verb conjugations? No, you just listened and repeated. You made mistakes. You learned through context and real conversations. But somehow when we become adults learning a second language, we think we need to do it differently. We think we need to understand every rule before we can speak. And that's the trap. I've seen this pattern hundreds of times. Students come in with notebooks full of vocabulary words they've memorized. They can pass written tests. They understand grammar concepts. But put them in a real conversation and they panic. Their brain switches to translation mode. They try to construct perfect sentences in their head before speaking. And by the time they figure out what to say, the conversation has moved on. It's exhausting, and it kills their confidence. The traditional approach teaches you to think about English instead of thinking in English. And that's a massive difference. When you think about English, you're constantly translating, analyzing, and second-guessing yourself. But when you think in English, the words just flow naturally without effort. That's what fluency actually is. It's not about knowing every grammar rule or having a massive vocabulary. It's about being able to express your thoughts naturally without translating in your head. So after watching hundreds of students struggle with traditional methods, I started experimenting. I wanted to figure out what the successful students were doing differently. And I discovered 3 specific techniques that changed everything. These are the exact same methods I used with Maria, and within 90 days, she went from freezing up in conversations to confidently chatting with native speakers. Let me break down each technique. Technique number 1. Input. Flooding This is going to sound simple, but most people completely miss this. You need to flood your brain with English input every single day. Not just any input though. It needs to be comprehensible input at your level or slightly above it. Here's what I mean. When I say input flooding, I'm talking about listening to English for at least 3 to 4 hours every day.
And I know what you're thinking.
I don't have 3 to 4 hours to sit and study. But here's the secret. You don't need to sit and study. You need to make English a constant background in your life. Let me give you practical examples. When you wake up in the morning, instead of checking social media in your native language, switch your phone to English and scroll through English content. When you're cooking breakfast, play an English podcast or YouTube video in the background. When you're commuting to work or school, listen to English audiobooks or conversations. When you're working out at the gym, English music or podcasts. When you're doing chores around the house, English videos. When you're falling asleep at night, play English stories or conversations at low volume. The goal is to make English so normal in your daily life that your brain stops seeing it as something foreign and starts processing it automatically. This is exactly how children learn their first language. They're surrounded by it constantly. They hear it in every situation, and their brain naturally starts picking up patterns without conscious effort. But here's the critical part that most people get wrong. The input needs to be interesting to you. If you force yourself to listen to boring news reports or academic lectures that you don't care about, your brain will tune out. You need content that genuinely interests you. Love cooking? Watch English cooking shows. Into fitness? Find English fitness channels.
Obsessed with true crime?
Listen to English crime podcasts. The content topic matters way less than the fact that you're actually engaged and paying attention. I had a student named Carlos who loved football. He wasn't interested in traditional English lessons at all, so I told him to stop studying from textbooks and instead watch football matches with English commentary, listen to English football podcasts, and follow English-speaking football analysts on social media. Within 2 months, his English improved dramatically because he was getting massive amounts of input about a topic he actually cared about. His brain was engaged, so it absorbed the language naturally. The science behind this is called comprehensible input theory. A researcher named Stephen Krashen proved that we acquire language best when we're exposed to input that's slightly above our current level, but still understandable from context. Your brain is an incredible pattern recognition machine. When you flood it with enough English input, it starts automatically recognizing grammar patterns, common phrases, pronunciation, and natural word flow. You don't need to consciously study these things. Your brain does the work for you if you give it enough exposure. Technique number 2, shadow. Speaking all right, so you're flooding your brain with input. That's step 1. But input alone isn't enough to become fluent. You also need output practice. And this is where most students make another huge mistake. They try to practice speaking by having conversations before they're ready. Then they make mistakes, feel embarrassed, and their confidence gets destroyed. Shadow speaking solves this problem completely. Here's how it works. You find an English speaker whose accent and speaking style you want to copy. Could be from a TV show, podcast, YouTube video, whatever. Then you play what they say and immediately repeat it, trying to match their exact pronunciation, rhythm, and intonation.
You're literally shadowing their speech like an echo.
This technique is insanely powerful for 3 reasons. First, you're training your mouth muscles to make English sounds. English has sounds that probably don't exist in your native language. Your mouth needs to practice making those sounds repeatedly until they become automatic. Shadow speaking gives you that practice in a safe environment where nobody is judging you. Second, you're training your brain to process English at natural speed. Most English learners practice with slow, carefully pronounced educational content. But real native speakers talk fast with connected speech, reduced sounds, and casual pronunciation. Shadow speaking forces your brain to keep up with natural speed from the beginning. Third, you're building confidence. When you can successfully shadow a native speaker and match their rhythm and pronunciation, it proves to your brain that you can speak English fluently. You're literally practicing fluency even before you're fluent. Your brain starts believing, I can do this, instead of this is too hard. Here's exactly how to practice shadow speaking. Find a short video or audio clip in English, maybe 30 seconds to 1 minute long. Something where the speaker is talking about an interesting topic at a natural pace. Play the first sentence and pause. Now repeat that sentence out loud, trying to copy everything about how they said it. The pronunciation, the rhythm, the intonation, the emotion, everything. Do this sentence by sentence through the whole clip. Then play the entire clip and try to shadow, speak along with it in real time without pausing. Your goal is to speak at the exact same time as the speaker, matching them word for word. This will feel difficult at first. You'll stumble and fall behind.
That's normal.
Just keep practicing the same clip over and over until you can shadow it smoothly. I recommend practicing shadow speaking for 20 to 30 minutes every single day. Pick different clips so you're exposed to various speakers, accents, and topics. Over time, you'll notice something amazing. The phrases and expressions you've shadow practiced will start coming out naturally when you have real conversations. Your brain has already practiced saying them hundreds of times, so they flow automatically. Maria, the student I mentioned earlier, used shadow speaking religiously. She would spend 30 minutes every morning shadowing clips from her favorite English YouTubers. After about 6 weeks, she noticed that when she tried to speak English, whole phrases would just come out naturally. She wasn't thinking about grammar or translating. The language was just there ready to use. That's the power of shadow speaking. Technique number 3. Real conversation practice. Okay, so you're flooding your brain with input. You're practicing shadow speaking daily. Now it's time for real conversations. But here's the thing. You need to do conversation practice in a very specific way, or it won't help you improve. Most English learners make one of 2 mistakes with conversation practice. Either they avoid conversations completely because they're too scared and nervous, or they jump into random conversations without any strategy and just hope they'll improve somehow. Neither approach works well. Here's the right way to practice conversations. You need structured conversation practice with a focus on specific goals. Let me break this down. First, find conversation partners who are patient and willing to help you learn. This could be a language exchange partner, an online tutor, a friend who speaks English, or even AI chatbots now. The key is they need to be okay with you making mistakes and taking time to respond. Avoid conversations where you feel rushed or judged. Those will just kill your confidence. Second, Before each conversation practice session, set a specific goal. Don't just have random chats hoping you'll magically improve. Instead, pick one thing to focus on. Maybe this session you want to practice talking about past events using past tense. Or maybe you want to practice asking questions naturally. Or maybe you want to work on expressing opinions and giving reasons. Having a focused goal makes your practice way more effective because you're actively working on specific skills. Third, record your conversations if possible.
I know this sounds uncomfortable, but it's incredibly valuable.
When you listen back to recordings of yourself speaking English, you'll notice mistakes you didn't catch in the moment. You'll hear where you hesitated, where you used the wrong word, where your pronunciation was off. This awareness is how you improve. You can't fix problems you don't notice. Fourth, after each conversation, do a quick reflection. Ask yourself what went well and what was difficult. Maybe you successfully told a story about your weekend. Great, that's progress. But maybe you struggled to express a particular idea or didn't know how to respond when someone asked you a specific question. Write those difficult moments down, then go look up how to express those ideas properly. This targeted learning is super efficient because you're learning exactly what you need for real situations. Fifth, practice the same types of conversations multiple times. Don't just have one random conversation about each topic and move on. Instead, have several conversations about similar topics. For example, if you practice talking about your daily routine with one person, then have that same conversation with another person a few days later. The second time will be much easier because you've already practiced the relevant vocabulary and phrases. By the third or fourth time, you'll be able to talk about that topic fluently without thinking. I had a student named Ahmed who used this exact approach. He would have 3 conversation sessions per week with different language exchange partners. Before each session, he would pick a specific topic he wanted to practice, like discussing movies, talking about work, or sharing travel experiences. Then he would have conversations about that topic with all 3 partners during that week. He also kept a notebook where he wrote down phrases and expressions he learned during conversations. Within 3 months, he had practiced dozens of common conversation topics multiple times each. His confidence skyrocketed because he knew he could handle almost any casual conversation situation. Now here's where all 3 techniques come together. And this is the moment when everything clicks for most students. Usually around the 60 to 70 day mark if you're doing all 3 techniques consistently. What happens is your brain hits a tipping point. You've been flooding yourself with input for 2 months. Your brain has heard thousands of English sentences and phrases. You've been shadow speaking for 2 months. Your mouth has practiced making English sounds hundreds of times. You've had structured conversation practice for 2 months. You've actively used English to express your own thoughts dozens of times, and then one day, something magical happens. You're in a conversation and suddenly the English just flows out. You don't translate in your head. You don't think about grammar rules. You don't hesitate searching for words. The language just comes naturally like you've been speaking it your whole life.
That's the fluency breakthrough moment. I remember the day this happened for Maria. She came to class and I could see something was different.
She was excited. She told me she had a conversation with an English speaker at a coffee shop the day before. And for the first time ever, she didn't freeze up. She didn't panic. She just spoke naturally and had a real conversation. She said it felt like her brain had suddenly switched to English mode, and the words were just there, ready to use. This is what 90 days of consistent practice gets you.
It's not about studying for hours.
It's about integrating English into your daily life through input flooding, training your mouth and brain through shadow speaking, and building real-world skills through structured conversation practice. When you do all three consistently, your brain rewires itself to process English automatically instead of treating it as a foreign language you need to translate. But here's the most important part. You have to be consistent.
90 days sounds like a long time, but it goes by fast.
The students who succeed are the ones who commit to doing these three techniques every single day, even when they don't feel like it, even on busy days, even when progress feels slow. They trust the process and keep going. The students who fail are the ones who do it for a week, don't see dramatic results immediately, and then give up or go back to traditional studying methods.
Fluency doesn't happen overnight.
But if you stay consistent, the breakthrough will come. And when it does, you'll realize English isn't this impossible language to master. It's just a skill that your brain needed time and practice to develop. Let me quickly summarize the three techniques one more time, because these are literally the keys to speaking fluent. English in 90 days. Technique 1, input flooding. Surround yourself with English 3 to 4 hours every day through podcasts, videos, music, audiobooks, whatever interests you. Make English a constant background in your life. Your brain needs massive exposure to naturally pick up patterns, vocabulary, and grammar without conscious effort. Technique 2, shadow speaking. Spend 20 to 30 minutes daily practicing by repeating after native speakers. Match their pronunciation, rhythm, and intonation exactly. This trains your mouth muscles and brain to produce English naturally at native speed. Shadow speaking builds the fluency in your mouth that input flooding builds in your brain. Technique 3, structured conversation practice. Have real conversations 3 to 4 times per week with specific goals each time. Record yourself, reflect on what was difficult, and practice similar conversation topics multiple times. This builds your real-world communication skills and confidence in using English spontaneously. These three techniques work together. Input flooding fills your brain with the language. Shadow speaking trains your mouth to produce the language. Conversation practice builds your confidence and ability to use the language in real situations. Do all three consistently for 90 days, and you will see dramatic improvement in your fluency. Remember Maria, who couldn't have a basic conversation after 4 years of traditional study. After 90 days using these three techniques, she was confidently speaking with native speakers, making jokes, and expressing complex ideas naturally. That same transformation is available to you if you commit to the process. The path to fluency isn't about studying harder or spending more money on courses. It's about practicing smarter, using methods that actually work with how your brain learns language. Stop translating in your head. Stop memorizing grammar rules. Stop doing endless vocabulary exercises. Instead, flood your brain with input, train your mouth with shadow speaking, and practice real conversations consistently.
That's the formula.
You can start today,
Right now.
pick an English podcast about something you love and start listening. Find a YouTube video and practice shadow speaking for 5 minutes. Message a language exchange partner and schedule your first conversation practice. The 90-day clock starts the moment you take action. If this helped you, hit subscribe for more fluency techniques that actually work.